Hello, I'm Artist Lillian Gray. In today's lesson, we are going to create a self-portrait inspired by Tim Burton's art. Tim Burton is an American filmmaker, animator, producer, and artist. He is mostly celebrated as a film director and illustrator. He has won various awards and accolades for his work. Tim Burton was born in California in 1958. As a young teenager, he would make short films in his backyard. He made his first stop motion animation at the mere age of 13. Now, stop motion is an animated filmmaking technique where objects are moved in small increments. Each tiny movement is photographed. Once all the photographed frames are played rapidly, it creates the illusion of movement. Any kind of object can be animated using this style. Now, Burton didn't really like school. He was introspective and he really struggled to communicate with other teenagers. But he found joy in his art and in his movies. His future works would be heavily influenced by the works of his childhood heroes such as Dr. Seuss and Roald Dahl. After he finished high school, Tim Burton attended the Californian Institute of the Arts, known as Cal Arts in California. There he studied character animation and created his own independent short films. His short films attracted the attention of Walt Disney Productions, and Disney offered Burton a job as an animator, storyboard artist, graphic designer, art director, and a concept artist. While working for Disney, Burton made a short film called Frankenweenie. It was released in 1984. It tells the story of a young boy who tries to revive his dog after it is run over by a car. And it's all filmed in black and white. After Frankenweenie was completed, Disney fired Burton under the pretext of him spending the company's resources on a film that would be too dark and scary for children to see. After leaving Disney, he directed films and started to achieve success. He is known for his gothic fantasy films such as Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, and Sweeney Todd. But Burton has also directed various other genres, such as the superhero films Batman and Batman Returns, the sci-fi film Planet of the Apes, the fantasy drama Big Fish, the musical adventure of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and fantasy films such as Alice in Wonderland and Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Burton also directed a live-action adaptation of Dumbo. However, he is most known for his direction of stop-motion animations, such as James and the Giant Peach, Corpse Bride, Frankenweenie, and The Nightmare Before Christmas. Yes, in 2012 he decided to remake the short movie Disney originally fired him for. He created a feature-length stop-motion film based on a memory he had as a child and his relationship with his dog. This time, Burton was a celebrated director and known for making box office hits. So Walt Disney Pictures actually funded and distributed this movie. Currently, Tim Burton is working on his first television series for Netflix. The series is called Wednesday and is based on the character from the Addams Family. Burton has also written and published various books and poems. Burton exhibits his artworks and illustrations in museums worldwide. In 2009, Burton had a retrospective exhibition at the MoMA in New York. A retrospective is when an accomplished artist is celebrated by a gallery for his or her accomplishments over a few decades, spanning over their entire career. The exhibition consisted of over 700 drawings, paintings, photographs, storyboards, moving image works, puppets, costumes, and many items from the filmmaker's personal collection. The exhibition traveled to Melbourne, Australia, and Paris in France. He also exhibited in Seoul in South Korea, in Prague, Czech Republic, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and in Hong Kong. Let's move on to analyzing Tim Burton's iconic illustration style. Character design. When you compare a Tim Burton character to a realistic portrait, you will notice some major differences. Tim Burton's art is not realistic, but stylized. The eyes are exaggerated and are the main feature in the head. The irises lack detail and simply consists of little black dots. The bodies are skinny and elongated, and the contrast is exaggerated with the large heads placed on thin, long necks. Typically, Tim Burton's main characters have small noses and tiny mouths. use of color. Tim Burton's art shares an overall collective feeling. The consistency over all his projects is the way he uses color. He favors a dark, muted color palette known as desaturated colors. This color scheme lends itself to a notorious Gothic feeling. Overall, he favors grays and blues. The colors Burton uses looks pale in comparison to typical shades and may have a grayish tint. Shape language. Shape language is a concept used in art and animation to communicate meaning based on shapes we are familiar with. When used in character, objects, and background design, shapes can tell a story, show personality, and elicit an emotional response in the viewer without using any words. Circles are usually seen as soft, squishy, harmless, approachable, and changeable. Squares are seen as solid, sturdy, strong, supportive, reliable, and inflexible. Triangles are sharp, directional, dynamic, dangerous, evil, and unpredictable. Tim Burton often combines two of these shape languages to create his characters, circles and triangles. The fine balance between these two shapes gives his characters that approachable yet scary appearance. Line quality. Burton also uses wonky lines and scratchy marks to add shading. This adds to the dramatic, scary appearance of the worlds and the characters he creates. You will also notice some curves are greatly exaggerated to add movement and dynamic compositions to the landscapes. Other characteristics. Other features that are quite noticeable in Tim Burton's work are pale white skin with dark eyes, as well as crazy hairstyles, some messy and some overly styled. Stitches can often be spotted on various characters' skin and marks on their bodies. And then there's the gothic clothing and costumes Tim Burton is known for. Characters often wear top hats and Victorian-inspired dresses and suits. Tim Burton is also fond of incorporating stripes in his costume designs. Great! Now that you know more about Tim Burton's biography and style, let's start working on our art projects. You can purchase our awesome Tim Burton inspired worksheets from our website or our Teachers Pay Teachers store. How to draw a self-portrait Tim Burton style. Step 1. Set up your station and art supplies. For this project, you will need our awesome worksheets, pencil, eraser, fine liner, black Koki, and colored pencils if you would like to add color. It will also be helpful to have a photo of yourself or to be seated close to a mirror. For this video, I will be drawing myself and some of my close family members. In the end, the drawing will still be me, but I'll add some Tim Burton inspired characteristics and style elements. I'm always telling my students, good art takes planning. In the creative industry, we use scamps or thumbnails to plan an artwork. So on the worksheets, there are little squares where you can plan your self-portrait before you just jump in and start drawing. Pro tip, do not press too hard with your pencil at the beginning. Press lightly. Glide over the page like an ice skater and do not stomp around like an elephant. If you press lightly, it's easy to erase mistakes and change your drawing. Step 2. Start with basic shapes. Start with the basic shapes and the median line. The median line is the line that runs down the face in the middle. It helps you to place all the elements of the face. Now add the median line. Keep going until you reach the point where you would like the chin. Now we're going to add a triangle for the chin. Start with a big circle. Notice that I am not drawing with one continuous line. I am building my circle with small, quick lines. I'm also working with a natural curve in my hand and not against it. Moving on to the body, we can add a thin, elongated neck and shoulders. The shoulders are rounded to match the circle shape language. Now you are done with the overall placement of your character. Step 3. Add the facial features. Lightly place the eyes in the head. The eyes are huge and remind me of ping pong balls. Make sure your eyes are symmetrical and the same size. The pupils lack details and are simply tiny black dots. If you would like your character to look straight at you, place the pupils in the middle. If you would like their gaze to go off into the distance, place it slightly to the left or the right. If you would like them to look up, place the iris at the top of the eyeball. Add guidelines for the nose and mouth placement. Remember, these proportions are not realistic, they are stylized. If you would like to learn how to draw realistic portraits, you can watch my video about it. Click on the link on the screen. Now let's add the nose. Remember, Tim Burton's noses are mostly small and understated, especially for his main characters. There are some exceptions, such as the penguin in Batman and other supporting characters, where the noses are massive. In the worksheets, I've included different features you can use in your portrait, but for this portrait, I'm going to be using a tiny nose. Now let's place the mouth. I'm not going to add a massive mouth that covers the face. It will be a tiny mouth. Most of Tim Burton's male characters have very slim upper lips with a focus on the bottom lip. When creating a female character, you can make the top lip a little bit bigger to emphasize the lipstick and femininity. Add a little heart on the top lip to help you achieve the desired shape. Great, we have now placed most of the facial features. To add more emotion and facial expression to your characters, we need eyebrows. You can make these as thin or as thick as you want, or you could give your character really bushy eyebrows. Draw a curved line above each eye for the eyebrow. Now add some line quality by making them thinner and thicker at places, or add texture if needed. Now let's add the ears. The ears are really tiny and simplified. In my lesson on how to draw realistic ears, I teach the 9Y method. This is always helpful for getting the structure of the ear. Draw the 9 of the ear on both sides of the face. Ensure they are placed at the exact same height and are the same size. Now add the inner Y. And voila! You have ears. Step 4. Add hair. Time for your character's hair. First, break your hair down into basic organic shapes. Now analyze the direction of your hair. In which direction is each section flowing? Your hair strands should be flowing in the same direction. Avoid helmet hair, where the hair sits flat on the skull. The hair sits on and around the skull and has volume. Hair is dynamic and has a life of its own. For extra character, add some strands standing up or flowing over the forehead. If your character is shocked, the hair might be crazy and standing in all directions. Step 5. Add clothing and accessories. Now let's add clothing. You can be inspired by the clothes you are wearing in your photo or the clothes you are wearing today. I am going to add a typical Tim Burton style off-the-shoulder dress to my character. And we can also add some fun accessories. On the worksheet, I have illustrated a few accessories to inspire you. You can add earrings, a hat, lace patterns, a collar, a tie, a choker, bracelets, a necklace, glasses, or a monocle. Step 6. Add details. Now we can add all the tiny details. You can make your characters more feminine by adding eyelashes. You can add makeup, such as adding eyeliner or eyeshadow. If you have an off-the-shoulder dress, you can also add the collarbone. You can even add some stitching to make your character a bit more scary. Step 7. Add shading. You can make your character look more 3D by adding shading. This adds to the stop-motion puppet look that Tim Burton is known for. It is important to add shadows below the chin and below the nose. Tim Burton characters also typically have shading under their eyes. With shading, you can also make the cheekbones a little bit more pronounced. Step 8. Add the fine liner and the koki. Remember to apply line quality. Make it visually interesting by making some lines thick and others thin. This is my favorite part of this drawing because now your character really starts to pop and we start seeing the personality. If you would like to learn more about shading and how to apply line quality, please watch my series on the 7 elements of art. It is some of my favorite videos explaining the building blocks to create an awesome art piece. Step 9. Add color. You can now add a bit of color to your portrait. This is completely optional, so if you love the monochrome look, why not keep it? If you want to add color, remember to use the muted color palette that Tim Burton uses. Do not overwork the color so all the beautiful shading you have created disappears. You can also blend the colors together for an added 3D effect. Tim Burton is fond of animals and various creatures. I decided it would be awesome to add my cat, Oreo, as well to this portrait. Well done! Your Tim Burton inspired self-portrait is now complete. Stay tuned for a bonus time-lapse at the end of the video where I draw my other family members in the same style. I'll also be giving each of them a creature inspired by Tim Burton. And that's it for our Tim Burton inspired art lesson. I hope you enjoyed this lesson and learned more about Tim Burton's specific art style. If you're new to our channel, please click subscribe so you can be notified whenever we have a new video. Remember to shop our worksheets online, on our website, or on our Teachers Pay Teachers store. We also have loads of freebies for you to download there. I'm Artist Lillian Gray. Until next time!